Hi, I'm just an average Joe. And in deference to the spin we hear from the media pundits, let me tell you what's different about this election from an average Joe and Jane point of view. You see, I look at this as our last chance opportunity to change our lives, and it's just hanging by a thread. I mean, we understand that the only two ways to do things are right or again, and we've been going in the same direction, doing the same thing again and again while we continue losing ground. As we watch others grow in a rigged system that we can't compete against. And as we were losing what little wealth we had, our vote was also losing value. Yeah, our vote was losing value. And our vote is our most important expression of hope for the future. Because those traitors to us in our country, who are on both sides of every issue, continually try to convince us that their choice is our only choice to vote for. And had it rigged so that in every election our input would be diminished. As everything around us has become a scam and we don't know who to trust anymore. We got these political parties, talk shows, groups that were created for our causes, and even religious types all jumping on the bandwagon to make money for themselves while telling us who to vote for. As we're further duped into voting for candidates spending the most for commercials on TV. Trust me, we'd be a lot better off just voting for the candidates spending less money and forgot the rest of the issues we care so much about, because they just lie about all that stuff to get elected anyway. They take our money and they take our votes and they make promises they'll never keep. And in the past we didn't have time to figure out which side was telling the truth or lying until it hit us that they're all lying. Lying to protect their interests and create their wealth, and not getting one thing accomplished that would help us average Joes and Janes survive in the future. So we woke up to find all those issues that we were told separated us were there to focus on how we're different from each other, so we don't figure out how different we all are from where the government's taking us. But now finally we've stopped doing that same thing again, and figured out that by doing it right means understanding we can't get anywhere just fighting all the time over those issues that require us to take an oath of allegiance to defend. So we kind of all agreed to disagree on those issues of individual preference, to be able to unite against the powers who have all but taken control of our country by lessening the value of our vote. And if you're wondering how us uniting all of a sudden happened, it might have something to do with letting a sleeping dog lie and having a conversation with an average Joe. You see, as it turns out, I think we all woke up at the same time to recognize that the most important issue that we need to deal with involves the control of our lives. You can throw out the window all those other hot button issues that used to define our voting, because we now realize that those issues were used to gain our loyalty and control and had little meaning compared to what we had to give up to achieve their goals. That's why it's getting more and more difficult to define the allegiance to these media people. The allegiance of conservatives, moderates, liberals, evangelicals, Catholics, or measure us by our income, age, gender, or even ethnic background, since we're all in the same boat on the same issue of making our country ours again by taking control of our lives before considering any other issue. And we finally do that by valuing the importance of our vote and not letting all those groups get rich off of us and take our votes for granted. With candidates being forced to seek their support, which will require them to pay it back in the future. With maybe Sanders and Trump the only apparent exceptions. And that's because neither Trump nor Sanders are using money made available through that Citizens United ruling that allowed for all this corporate money to flow into campaigns that's taken away the value of our vote. And those running for office who say that corporations are entitled to the same free speech and liberties as us individuals are saying that for the money, to get the money. As some candidates who are still in the race have had to survive by selling out to parties and corporations and billionaires with special interests who control super PACs. and some even media, in the media, under the control of those same corporations. So while each candidate has something positive and attractive to us on many issues, the bottom line is that each is controlled by money interests, which means if they're elected, in the end, we're going to be controlled by the interests of that money. At least with Trump, it's like the middleman is taken out of the equation, but we're still controlled by a money interest, his. But then he seems to get a pass even with that, because he epitomizes those of us average Joes getting pushed around by government and corporate powers every day of our lives, when all of a sudden pretty soon we've had enough and strike back with a blow that no one saw coming. Like one day getting pushed and then knocking the pusher to the ground, and no one understands the fury unless they're the ones getting pushed every day. That sleeping dog is awakened and pushed to his senses, finally standing up to the bullies who have been attacking us without us making a response. So Trump responds and gets away with it because of all the pent-up anger we suffered all these years. And we cheer him on, no matter what he says or does. You know, first the media creates a monster of a candidate to raise ratings, and then they become afraid when they lose control with all the folks cheering him on. And it's the same way with Sanders, except that he's gotten less pushback than Trump from his party because he's less of a threat to that because of that delegate roost that he's been participating in with the caucuses, primaries, and super delegates. That'll never allow for a popular result. At least now he has enough exposure. He has enough exposure to run as the independent he is. Of course, the winner-take-all primaries basically allow for the same thing on the Republican side. A candidate with a third of the vote can get enough delegates to go to the convention, which to us average Joes, it sounds an awful lot like the Electoral College. Who knows, we might see 4 people running for president in the general election. And you know, what you have to understand is that both Trump and Sanders are just telling people what they want to hear, from free stuff to terrific stuff, all without a sure path to achieving any of it. I gotta tell you, false hope is a lot better than no hope. The no hope we've been experiencing all these past years. Of course, that's how people like Hugo Chavez get elected too. So we've got to be careful not to give away the power we've just retrieved. And we must never forget the reason we're in this position today. It's because we got distracted. We were asleep at the wheel. And now all these debates and commercials and interviews and rallies are like free entertainment, replacing Dancing with the Stars and all the football we watched almost every day. The debates, especially on the Republican side, are like a cross between a reality show and a soap opera, with massive audiences tuning in to watch this interaction with little care about any accuracy of the attacks. But you see, we love to be distracted and entertained, and Trump and Sanders, above all the rest, can draw a crowd because they're not afraid to tell it like it is, at least what it is to them and some of us, which presents them as being popular candidates whose popularity becomes contagious. I mean, there's nothing like a crowd to draw a crowd. I'm just saying. But now that we're awake, let's not forget that the alarm that went off wasn't to get us to become distracted with the debates or the rallies again, or the personalities or personal attacks. It was to alert us that we had one more opportunity to do it right. What it comes down to is giving us a chance that our vote still has value, without the demand of the allegiance to those who have been using our vote for their own benefit while controlling our lives. But if we can't get it right this time, it will be our last chance, because we won't be able to do it again. We're hanging by a thread because we don't have the money or power to fight back. All we have left is our vote, and the time between now and the election for everyone to have a conversation with an average Joe on Broadway. Don't forget, the revolution started at curtain call. See you there.